Hello, beautiful and exotic women of the world. I hope you all are having a wonderful week. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Also like this video so that it can be pushed out to other beautiful and exotic women like yourself. In today's video, I want to discuss how to deal with people seeking your validation. Now, first and foremost, someone wouldn't be seeking your validation to begin with if they didn't think that you were important and in some cases better than them. But you'll know when someone is seeking your validation as an exotical because of your beauty and because of the perceived value that you hold in their mind. And so when someone seeks your validation, male or female, it's because they want to be validated by you because they believe that you're important. In their mind, you're important. So they want to see if you will validate them and their existence because for whatever reason, they've made you so much more important in their minds than they would ever be in yours. One of the major forms of somebody seeking your validation is when they crave to be seen by you or wanting to be seen by you. I can't tell you how many times this happens in my life. No matter where I am, what I'm doing, I can be shopping, I could be at the gym, I could be getting gas, I could be anywhere. There is someone who notices me, finds me attractive in some type of way, and because they're either insecure and want to be noticed, or they're simply just wanting my validation and wanting me to see that they're existing in life and that they are present, they will come into my space, they'll come into my eye view so that they can get some type of weird silent validation. It's really weird. I don't know why people do this, but I know that it is simply just a reflection of their insecurities and sometimes them even being threatened by you and threatened by your presence. And when it comes to exoticals, we know that we are constantly being watched, looked at, hated on, stared at. You can just be minding your business and somebody will find a way to make you the focus of their attention and try to come around you to be in your space. And I'm not somebody who's going to give you a negative reaction or give you some type of validation by getting upset by seeing you in my space. I'm not a person whose face is going to turn sour when I see you just because you're also a beautiful woman. I'm going to most likely smile if we make eye contact. And I don't know what the psychology is behind this, but I know that you just deal with it by killing people with kindness. A lot of times that's all you have to do. When they come in your space and they're seeking validation and they're doing this weird silent kind of like competition with you when you're just minding your business, if you smile at these people, it will destroy any type of hate that they could have possibly been manifesting within them towards you. Because not only are you gorgeous, not only are they already seeking your validation because there's something about you that's attractive, but you're also kind. That will really frustrate some people. So that's why I always smile or just give a light little smirk. And it's also me sending a signal that I'm not in competition with them and that I don't view them in that way. So that's how you would deal with people trying to be seen by you. If they're being aggressive though, like if they are following you and harassing you, which I will get to a little bit later in this video, that's a different story. And that's when you need to be a little bit more stern. You don't need to smile at these people. You need to just remove yourself. But we'll get to that a little bit later on in the video. Another form of someone seeking validation from you is someone who desires for you to speak to them first and getting upset if you don't. A lot of times you'll hear family do this or friends or whoever, and they'll just say things, and they'll say things like, oh, you don't know how to speak to nobody, oh, you don't know how to say hello to nobody. And it's just like, why do I have to? Me and Exoticals United joked about this under one of our comment sections. That is something that people say so often, is like, they'll say things like, oh, you don't know how to speak to anybody. And it's just like, why do I have to speak to you first? Why do I always have to open my mouth to say hello to you first? And that just, again, shows that they want to feel accepted and noticed by you. So they will go out of their way to tell you that you're being rude for not telling them hello first, when in reality, if they really wanted to say hello to you, they could have just done it themselves. But this is just a backhanded way of them trying to guilt you into acknowledging their existence, because it would make them feel better about themselves if it came from you first instead of them doing it for you. Because if they did it for you, then that would make them feel like they were being a fan. And in their little twisted minds, it would make them feel like they're doing too much by saying hello to you. When in reality, who's even thinking that way? Just say hi, you know? But it's a weird psychological game that that people like to play, especially again with exoticals. You are beautiful, you're stunning, you stand out. People crave your attention and they crave to be noticed by you and seen by you. So if you don't say hi to them, they're butthurt. But let it be anybody else, they don't care. When it comes to you, you must notice them, or else you're everything under the sun but a child of God. So another very sinister tactic people use to seek your validation is negging. And as a beautiful exotical, I'm sure a lot of you have faced negging from women and from men. So if you guys don't know what negging means, negging is an act of emotional manipulation whereby a person makes a deliberate backhanded compliment or otherwise flirtatious remark to another person to undermine their confidence and attempt to engender in them a need for the manipulator's approval. It's almost like reverse psychology. So let's say, for example, when it comes to men who neg women who they're actually infatuated with and interested in, they'll say something to her upon meeting her like, oh, you really took your time doing your hair, huh? It seems like you spend a lot of time in the mirror. Him saying that is him hoping that you will say, I'm not a self-centered person. I'm not a conceited person. This didn't take too long. This was nothing. He's hoping that you will go into this fight or flight mode where you will overly defend yourself and overly explain yourself. And when that happens, they've won because you are seeking their approval, because they are doing reverse psychology on you to get you to minimize your looks, your beauty, yourself, to explain to them why what they're negging you on isn't the case, isn't fact. And so once they've done that to you and you give in, they've immediately won. And then women are shady naturally. Women are just catty and shady. We can all think of examples when a woman has given us backhanded compliments or has said something to us that is suggestive, that isn't true about us, and it will kind of trigger you to want to over-explain and overcompensate and defend yourself. But a lot of times, how you deal with these people is you give them what they're giving you right back. Agree with them in a very sarcastic, snarky way so that they realize you noticed that they were trying to neg you, and they'll almost become embarrassed by this. So if you throw it right back in their face and be like, yep, I absolutely spent a lot of time in the mirror. I love myself. And you just look blankly into his eyes, then he's all like, stuttering because he wasn't expecting you to be as sharp as you were and be on your P's and Q's and throw it right back in his face for him to do something with it. So now you're both just standing there looking at each other like, okay, your move. What now? What's next? So just always be prepared for people's stupidity and people's snide little snarky remarks. When they feel less than when it comes to you, if they're threatened or insecure, they will absolutely neg you to get a reaction out of you so that you can prove yourself to them or gain their approval, when in reality, they're just playing stupid psychological mind games with you. And another way I would tell you guys to avoid people trying to seek your validation is when situations become borderline harassment. So, for example, there was a man in the gym who I saw was clearly watching me in inappropriate ways. He was staring for too long and he would follow me around the gym. No one should be harassed or stalked. And I think that is when it becomes very dangerous, when someone is seeking your validation or wanting to be noticed by you so badly that they turn into a weirdo and they start stalking you and they start following you places and they're always in your space. So in this instance, this guy saw me a few times in the gym before, but for whatever reason on this day in particular, he was finding himself following me around the gym. So at first, it started with him just staring. Then I would move to one area of the gym and he would come next to me. Then I would move to another area of the gym and then he would come behind me. Then I told myself, okay, let me go into the center where there are a bunch of people so that if he tries something, I have witnesses. So I moved to the center of the gym where it was very wide open space and I was doing some step ups. And where I was doing step ups on these huge like tires almost. Like think about tractor tires. They have these big tires where you can use to pick up and put down, or you can use it as a step up. So I was in that area. There was no one else around me. There was a ton of space around me, just to paint the picture for you. And of course, who do you think found their way all the way over to the tire that was next to the tire I was using? This creepy ass dude. So I immediately said, I'm using this area. You need to move. And he was like, oh, you're using this? I said, yes, I am. Please go. And he got up and he left. Sometimes you have to verbally tell these people to F off, or else they will continue what they're doing and think that it is a game. Some men who are predators like to play the cat and mouse game with women, and if you don't speak up for yourself as a woman sometimes, and it becomes the weird stalking type of thing, they will think that you like it. I know that sounds crazy, but in some twisted men's minds, they enjoy this type of game. And so I made sure to speak up so he knew that I'm not playing that type of game with him. Just because we're all in the gym and we got to share this space doesn't mean you have the right to follow me around, stare at me in predatory ways, make me feel uncomfortable, invade my personal space in the gym when there was ample amounts of space for you to go do whatever you needed to do elsewhere away from me. It's uncalled for, it's inappropriate, and I'm not having it. And so that's the only time I would say that you can speak up for yourself and actually give these people the time of day. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but sometimes people will go to these lengths just so you can speak to them. And I know that sounds so crazy and so weird, but I've experienced this way too often. And I know for a fact that there are people who will go to the length of stalking you or following you around or making you uncomfortable just so that they can hear your voice and just so that they can engage with you, even if it's a negative interaction. So you have to sometimes stand up for yourself when it becomes a borderline harassment situation, and you do have to, unfortunately, acknowledge these people's existence. So ladies, please drop down in the comment section. Let me know if you've ever dealt with any weirdos, whether they were men or women, just fiending for your attention and for your validation. I'd love to hear what your experiences have been with this, especially as exoticals. We go through this on a daily basis. It is a non-stop thing. I'll also be leaving my email in the description box. You can share with me any stories you may have regarding this or anything regarding family issues you faced being an exotical. Have a lovely day.